Hi, I'm Clinton.
I'm Claude, and we're the lamest offenders.
And on this special episode of We've Got Issues, after the breathtaking House of X number 4 came out 2 weeks ago, we're finally able to exhale in issue 5.
Right, and stereotypically, issue 5 comes after issue 4.
After the events of issue 4, there's going to be some heavy spoilers in this starting off, basically.
Yeah.
So
This is a spoiler review.
it is a spoiler review.
Yeah, come
you
on,
click
guys.
the link, you know what you're
You
getting
knew
into.
the title,
Yeah.
I mean.
After issue 4, the X-Men, the classic X-Men that we know, Cyclops, Wolverine, Jean Grey, most of them are just wiped out after destroying Mother Mold, which was a Sentinel creating factory in space. Hang on. Bear with us.
Yeah. If you lasted through that, then it gets a little less weird going forward.
This issue basically shows the consequences of that, the direct consequences of that, direct repercussions. Basically, in the first issue of House of X, there was a couple panels where it showed the X-Men being basically born out of some pods. It kind of looks like something out of the Matrix.
Yeah, and I guess the symbolism was Adam and Eve, and then like Xavier's kind of, God basically, yeah, as they say.
So after that issue, that's my one negative critique of this issue was that it used the exact same pages to show that.
Yeah,
and
$4.99 comic.
Yeah, it's just like okay,
reusing art.
2 pages I could have had back, whatever. Yeah. And the funny thing is that they had a lot of lesser known mutants come in and basically save this franchise, this current iteration of the X-Men. So there's a character called Golden Balls. I know.
Okay. That's my nickname in high school, but continue.
And he basically shoots golden orbs out of his chest.
Yeah.
Hang on. We're not done.
I thought it was a mother mold, but now we went way above that.
And so what they didn't realize, though, was that they had a lot of viable biological components to them. They're basically eggs.
Okay.
So
his balls?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
And so what they discovered was that they could use him along with a few other mutants to basically recreate shells of any mutant that they had used Mr. Sinister's gene database that they did in Powers of X in the previous issues. Yeah, I keep saying episode.
Yeah.
In the previous issue, did it again. And so what they did now is that Xavier, we find that Cerebro is not just used for locating mutants. It is actually used basically to, whenever it discovers a new mutant, it keeps a part of its soul, basically. It keeps its power in its database. Mm-hmm. So now that when Xavier goes to these shells, he can pretty much give them their mind back, their soul back, and it activates their power almost instantly. It's a little...
I remember when we first started doing the reviews for this, and I'm like, this... who writes this?
Jonathan Hickman.
Yeah, and Jonathan Hickman. He wrote Age of Ultron way back. Or no, it was Secret Wars, and I said that was super convoluted. This sounds just as convoluted.
Well, I mean, it does, but it doesn't. But Powers of X is definitely convoluted. That one is frustrating to a point, but this one actually works better as a narrative.
Right.
I think. When you're already out in space finding a giant talking robot head, you kind of have to throw everything out the window at this point. Yeah. So after that happens, Storm is reintroducing the X-Men to the citizens of Krakoa, to all the mutants of Krakoa. And they're saying like, don't worry, these are our people. They're back. They're heroes. We need to embrace them. These are my brothers and sisters. Blah blah blah. And throughout this, Magneto and Xavier are talking, and they're saying like. And they're just talking about the UN resolution vote that's happening the next day. And with that, Magneto says to Xavier, they should have killed us when they had the chance. And all Xavier does is smirk.
Yeah.
He just is like, yeah, they should have. So that was actually...
crazy.
That was pretty jarring, honestly. Like Xavier we said this before. he's just going deeper and deeper into super villain, which he could be pretty unstoppable, honestly. So it's kind of interesting. It's
now,
kind of
could
cool.
you refresh my memory, along with the viewers, what that UN resolution thing would do?
Oh, sure. Yeah, that was in the first issue of House of X. That basically recognizes Krakoa as a independent state, basically. It's like they will have embassies, they're going to have trade deals, all that good stuff. They'll be a recognized nation. Basically, leave them alone, they'll leave you alone. That's kind of what they're going for. So the next day, it shows the UN resolution passes. None of the Security Council members vote against it. Russia was going to, but then the White Queen, it said like White Queen convinced her not to. Yeah. So it's just, and Xavier kind of calls her out on that. But she says, well, just buy me something nice or make me a governor or something. And Xavier says, what could I possibly buy the woman who can buy anything she wants? And for the second part, I have bigger plans in mind.
They're just so incredibly unlikable. They're bad. They're just not.
Yeah,
all right.
It's interesting.
They're everything that Xavier and the X-Men originally were fighting against, and against the whole message Magneto had originally, and now it's just all embraced, and it's just like, okay, like what's going on here?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a different team.
Right.
I don't know where it's going.
And honestly, how are the original X-Men okay with this? Like Cyclops, I mean, he was on that original team, and now here he is, and even Wolverine. I mean, are they sick of like the entire thing? Like,
I think
the message with mutants
after the events of Genosha, where millions were wiped out, they're just not. They're done. Yeah. They're done playing nice.
Right.
They're over it. They're like, nope, no more. So it's like they want to basically repopulate, go from there, and let the die fall where it may. So
right.
It's kind of interesting to see all these guys as bad guys, honestly, because there's really no good and bad anymore.
Right.
I mean, there was that panel in the very first issue of House of X where Cyclops talks to Fantastic Four, or two of the Fantastic Four, and Reed Richards, and it's very almost like a Mexican standoff. Yeah. Honestly, it's like, what is going on here? And
Veiled threat.
Yeah, and then nothing's come of that yet. And we still have a couple more issues to go with both series, so we'll see if that leads anywhere. I think it will, because every little drop is kind of growing now. Every seed is growing into something now. So
Krakoan seed.
Yeah, good one. Good call. So the finale ends with, as finales do, the finale has basically all the evil mutants, the rest of them, Apocalypse, Acolyte, and then...
Where's my boy Toad?
I'm sure he was probably in there.
He's in the
honestly.
background.
Like, you just see the portals open up, and just the rogues of the rogues gallery starts walking through here.
It'd be another tie-in.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and then it ends with Apocalypse, and he walks in and he's just praising everybody. He's like, "Oh, you finally done it. You finally done what I've set in motion all these years ago." And it's like, now we're...
That didn't seal the deal, like in terms of them being officially evil.
Exactly.
So
and Magneto gives Apocalypse and everyone else an ultimatum. It's like, you will follow the law of Krakoa. If you don't, you're done. You're out. And they agree. And then the very last page is Xavier and Apocalypse shaking hands, saying like, "Welcome home." So it's like,
it's a pretty cool stinger.
So yeah, it's...
It doesn't sound like it's I guess as exciting as the last one, but this one has exciting, I guess, concepts and the story content instead of actual like action and consequences. It's building to that consequence.
Issue 4 was probably the best. The previous issue where the team is blown up in a space station and taken care of on the mold. That may have been the best issue of an X-Men comic I've read in years.
It was good.
It was so good. I'm really bummed that the consequences of that are already over with. But if you saw previews for what's coming out this fall for the X-Men line, they all survive.
Yeah, they all bounce back.
So it's just like, well, that sucks. You could have waited a couple weeks for that, but oh well. So it's definitely it's a buy. It's great. Still, it definitely, I feel like Powers of X is going to slowly take over now.
Yeah.
Because that takes place more in the future, and that really ties in well with this issue, I feel.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's good. I recommend it. Get it. But, yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So, that's one comic that we had for this week. We're also doing a separate video for Absolute Carnage, and then also because this week was particularly busy, we're doing another comic book review.
Yeah,
so
3 of them this week.
Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy these same shirts because we'll be wearing it 2 more times. So also, if you guys didn't check it out, please check out our Spider-Man leaving the MCU that we worked pretty hard on, and it's out now, and it's pretty funny. So hopefully it doesn't get taken down for copyright. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and we'll see you soon.
Stay lame.
See ya.